Welcome to a new episode of Capital City News, your source for staying informed and engaged with Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Brian Young with Salt Lake City TV. On our episode this week, we spoke with Katie Matheson from the Economic Development Department. Our History Minute is about Emigration Canyon and the Donner Party. Before we get to those, let's take a look at our look back, our legislative updates.
At its January 17th meeting, the City Council discussed a proposed urban forest action plan, discussed and approved a resolution extending the mayor's proclamation declaring a local emergency to allow an increase in the number of shelter beds. The resolution extends the declaration of local emergency to April 30th, 2023, and they received briefings on requests to rezone property and an amendment that would reduce the allowable amount of grass a property may have. To learn more about these issues or any others, please visit slc.gov/council. Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall and City Council members held a press conference on the decision by the Larry H. Miller Company to move the Salt Lake Bees baseball team to their new development in Daybreak. Salt Lake City is excited to announce the Ballpark Next Design Competition, an opportunity for residents, post-secondary students, and development professionals to tell us what they envision for the future of Smith's Ballpark site. Identified by the community in the recently completed Ballpark Station Area Plan as the heart of the neighborhood, the ballpark site is ready to be reimagined. We invite you to get inspired, dream big, dig deep, and show us your long-term vision for the area. Learn more at ballparknext.com. Mayor Mendenhall recently announced that Salt Lake City will join the nationwide Vision Zero Network, a national strategy to eliminate all traffic fatalities and severe injuries on city streets while increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility for all. Learn more about the Vision Zero Network at visionzeronetwork.org. Salt Lake City's Love Your Block program is currently accepting mini-grant applications for improving the Glendale, Poplar Grove, Fair Park, Rose Park, Jordan Meadows, and West Point neighborhoods. Applications close at midnight on January 30th. Apply and learn more at the Love Your Block website. The Utah Rent Relief Portal will stop accepting new applicants as of February 3rd, 2023. Although the portal will be closing to new applicants, the Utah Rent Relief Program will continue to assist previous applicants until all funds are exhausted.
For our interview this week, we spoke with Katie Matheson from Salt Lake City's Economic Development Department about Tech Week in Tech Lake City.
So my name is Katie Matheson. I'm the Marketing and Research Manager for Salt Lake City's Department of Economic Development, and this week we are celebrating Utah Tech Week. Utah Tech Week is basically a DIY celebratory week celebrating Utah's tech industry. So for this week, from January 24th, which is Tuesday, through the 28th, which is Saturday, there's almost a week of events each of these days. On the 25th and on the 27th, the mayor has two events which are related to her Tech Lake City initiative. It's Tech Lake City programming, and the event on the 25th is the mayor's kickoff event. She will be moderating a panel, and at the panel they will talk about using tech and innovative approaches to solving big problems with our environment. So air quality, water issues, things like that. The event on the 27th will be connecting students in Utah with 4 Utah tech companies, 2 of them in Salt Lake City, and these companies are companies that use tech to approach other difficult issues and challenges, including housing, transportation, things like that. And it's connecting these students with these companies and showing them the resources that these companies used and encouraging entrepreneurship from these students. So Utah is well positioned for a Utah Tech Week because, funnily enough, tech in Utah is really booming. It's an industry that is here and that is not going away anytime soon. And in fact, Salt Lake City has the highest concentration of life science jobs in the country. So this thing is already happening, and what we're doing is we're taking this ball that is already rolling in a really good industry that pays good wages, tends to stay in the community more, and we're celebrating it. So the events are free and open to the public. We just ask that you RSVP through the Eventbrite, but if members of the public want to learn more, they can go to utah.techweek.com.
It's time again for the History Minute.
In the spring of 1846, the Donner Party originated in Springfield, Illinois, and made their way to the Oregon Trail, heading west to seek their fortunes. Instead of taking the more established route, they elected to take a new route called the Hastings Cutoff that was billed as a more direct path to California. This would take them across the Wasatch Mountain Range through the Salt Lake Valley to the south of the Great Salt Lake on their way to the West Coast. As they traveled, they found the route rough and wild, and they had to choose their direction carefully each day, laboriously cutting through the brush by hand. At one point, they found themselves on the eastern side of Parley's Canyon and decided that was their preferred route. After clearing that trail for several days, they ultimately decided that Parley's was unpassable and backtracked. When given the choice to pick again, they went with Emigration Canyon and spent the next month clearing about a mile of trail a day. Eventually, they got through and bypassed the Salt Lake Valley and made their way to the Sierra Nevadas, but it was too late, and they got stuck in what is now known as Donner Pass. Their misfortune was to the great benefit of the Mormon pioneers, who were able to use the Donner Path to get through Emigration Canyon in a week instead of a month. Because that hastened their schedule, the pioneers that colonized the valley were able to plant crops early enough in the season to survive. Otherwise, there was a chance they would have suffered a similar fate as the Donner Party in the Salt Lake Valley just the next year.
That's it for another installment of Capital City News. Remember, the best way to stay engaged is to stay informed. You can do that by following us on social media at SLC.gov, subscribing to us on YouTube, or watching us on Channel 17. So reporting in from Library Square, I'm Brian Young.